So as usual, I'd like to start with some housekeeping issues. Just to remind all present that under the Council's remote meeting procedures, this meeting is being live streamed and recorded for archive purposes on the Council's website. Can I ask members, apart from Cabinet members and group leaders, to ensure your mics and cameras are switched off unless you're invited by the Mayor to speak? And for the benefit of those joining online, could we please limit the use of the chat facility to ensure that all discussions take place in the meeting itself, unless, of course, you have any audio or camera issues, in which case then please bring that to the attention of the Democratic Services Officer as soon as possible, and they will inform the Mayor at the appropriate point. Should you wish to speak, please use the raise your hand function in the Teams software and wait until invited to speak. And if the raise your hand function doesn't work for any reason, you can also raise your hand on camera. This meeting will be conducted in line with the standards set out in section 19, appendix 2 of the Council's constitution. And I kindly ask that all participants adhere to one speaker at a time. The only exception will be if the Mayor needs to interrupt a member for any reason. And before we move on to item 1 of the agenda, I'm sorry to advise councillors of the death of Councillor Anthony Ernest's wife. I extend sincere condolences to Councillor Ernest and his family on behalf of the Council. Councillor Ernest, you're in our thoughts and our prayers at this sad time. Thank you, councillors. We move on to item 1, apologies for absence. Do we have any apologies, please? Councillor Carroll?
Councillor Anthony Ernest.
Thank you. I see no other hands, so we move on to item 2, roll call. Excuse me. Roll call and declarations of interest under the Council's Code of Conduct. Can I invite the Chief Executive to take us through the roll call and any declarations, please?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. And in going through the roll call, if I can ask members if you have any declarations of interest to explain the nature of that interest under the Council's Code of Conduct for the record, please. So we'll start this evening with Councillor Anne Asprey.
Presennol, a Jim Beach with Atcan.
Councillor Julie Aviat.
Present and nothing to declare.
Councillor Gareth Ball.
Present and nothing to declare.
Councillor Rhiannon Birch.
Present, nothing to declare.
Councillor Bronwyn Brooks.
Present and nothing to declare.
Councillor Gillian Bruce.
Present and nothing to declare.
Councillor Ian Buckley.
Present, nothing to declare.
Councillor Liz Burnett.
Present and nothing to declare.
Councillor Samantha Campbell.
Present and nothing to declare.
Councillor George Carroll.
Present, nothing to declare.
Councillor Christine Cave.
Present, nothing to declare.
Councillor Charles Champion.
Present, nothing to declare.
Councillor Janice Charles.
Nothing to declare.
Councillor Millie Collins.
Present, nothing to declare.
Councillor Marianne Cowp.
Present, no declarations.
Councillor Pamela Drake.
Present and nothing to declare.
Councillor Vince Driscoll.
Present and nothing to declare.
Councillor Robert Fisher.
Present and nothing to declare.
Councillor Chris Franks.
Present, nothing to declare.
Councillor Wendy Gilligan.
Present, nothing to declare.
Councillor Russell Godfrey.
Present and nothing to declare.
Councillor Emma Goodjohn.
Present and nothing to declare.
Councillor Ewan Goodjohn.
Present and nothing to declare.
Councillor Stephen Haynes.
Present, nothing to declare.
Councillor Howard Hamilton.
Present and nothing to declare.
Councillor Sally Hanks.
Present, nothing to declare.
Councillor William Hennessy,
Present and nothing to declare.
Councillor Nick Hodges,
Present, nothing to declare.
Councillor Mark Hooper,
Presennol a dim byd i'w ddatgan.
Councillor Catherine Iannucci,
Present, nothing to declare.
Councillor Gwyn John,
Present, nothing to declare.
Councillor Ian Johnson,
Presennol a dim byd i'w ddatgan.
Councillor Susan Lloyd Selby,
Present and nothing to declare.
Councillor Belinda Lovelock Edwards,
Present, nothing to declare.
Councillor Julie Lynch Wilson,
Present and nothing to declare.
Councillor Kevin Marney, Councillor Marney. Okay, Councillor Naomi Marshalsea,
Presennol a dim byd i'w ddatgan.
Councillor Michael Morgan.
Present and nothing to declare.
Just seen that there's a hand up, so I'll go back to Councillor Marney. Okay, thank you. I think the hand up shows that Councillor Marney is present. Councillor Jane Norman,
Present and nothing to declare.
Councillor Helen Payne,
Present and nothing to declare.
Councillor Elliot Penn,
Present, nothing to declare.
Councillor Sandra Perks,
Present and nothing to declare.
Councillor Ian Perry,
Present, nothing to declare.
Councillor Joanna Prothero,
Present and nothing to declare.
Councillor Ruba Sivanianam,
Present, nothing to declare.
Councillor Caris Stallard,
Yn bresennol a dim byd i'w ddatgan.
Councillor Neil Thomas,
Present, nothing to declare.
Councillor Rhys Thomas,
Present and nothing to declare.
Councillor Steffan William,
Yn bresennol a dim byd i'w ddatgan.
Councillor Margaret Wilkinson,
Present, nothing to declare.
Councillor Eddie Williams,
Present and nothing to declare.
Councillor Mark Wilson,
Present and nothing to declare.
and Councillor Nicholas Wood.
Present and nothing to declare.
Thank you, and that concludes the roll call.
Thank you, Chief Exec. So we move on to item 3, to elect a mayor for the ensuing municipal year in accordance with the provisions of the Local Government Act. Can I invite the Chief Executive to take us through this item, please?
Okay, thank you, Mayor. And as is the usual practice at the AGM, can I ask if there are any nominations, please, for the Mayor for the next year? Councillor Naomi Marshalsea.
I would like to nominate Julie Aviett for mayor.
Thank you. And is that seconded? Councillor Lovelock Edwards.
Yes, I'd like to formally second Julie Aviett as mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Carroll, you have your hand up.
I'd like to nominate Councillor Russell Godfrey.
Thank you. Is there a seconder for Councillor Godfrey?
Yes, I'd like to second that.
Thank you, Councillor Bruce. So in accordance with the discussions that have been held with the group leaders, we need to move this to a vote. And just for those watching, group leaders have agreed that leaders would vote on a block voting approach. So I'll ask the group leaders in turn where their votes will be going to. And also I'll ask the 4 independent members in turn to indicate their vote as well, please. So if I start with Councillor Liz Burnett, leader of the Labour Group.
The Labour Group will vote for Councillor Julie Aviett.
Thank you. If I ask Councillor Carroll as leader of the Conservative Group.
Our group will vote for Councillor Russell Godfrey.
Thank you. If I then ask Councillor Johnson, please.
My grŵp Plaid Cymru yn cefnogi Julie Aviett.
Thank you. Plaid will be supporting Julie Aviett. If I then go to Llantwit Major first, independents, Councillor John, please.
Our vote goes for Julie Aviott.
Thank you. And then if I take the independent members in turn, Councillor Campbell, first of all.
Councillor Julie Aviott.
Thank you. If I then ask Councillor Marnie, please. Councillor Marnie, can you hear me? Okay, I'll come back. Councillor Morgan, please.
Councillor Julie Aviott.
Thank you. And Councillor Perry.
Councillor Julia Aviott, please.
Thank you. And I'll have one more attempt to see if Councillor Kevin Marnie can hear me and indicate how he wants to vote. Okay, no luck. So I make that 12 for Councillor Godfrey and 40 for Councillor Aviott. I confirm that that's correct. So Councillor Aviott is duly elected Mayor for the municipal year. So what I will do next is invite the Mayor to read and sign the Declaration of Acceptance of Office, please.
I, Julie Aviott, having been elected to the office of Mayor of the Vale of Glamorgan Council, declare that I take that office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties of it according to the best of my judgment and ability. I undertake to observe the code for the time being as to the conduct which is expected of members of the Vale of Glamorgan Council and which may be revised from time to time.
Thank you. If you'd like to sign and date. Congratulations. And,
Yeah. Thank you, Councillors Marshalsea and Lovelock Edwards, for your nomination. It is an honour and privilege to be able to represent the Vale of Glamorgan. I am proud of our beautiful beaches, parks and countryside. I am proud of our people in all their diversity. Homelessness, family breakdown, domestic abuse, sudden illness and mental illness, disability and hidden disability, addictions, redundancy, post-traumatic stress disorder, isolation and loneliness, and bereavement. All these things can touch our lives at any time. In my term of office, I would hope to convey two messages throughout the Vale of Glamorgan. They are to have pride in where you live and have empathy for others. My consort will be my friend, Mr. Brian Morris, and my chaplain will be Canon Pat O'Gorman. Thank you. Moving on to agenda item 4, election of the Deputy Mayor. Can I have some nominations, please? Councillor Ruba Savignano.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to nominate my ward colleague, Councillor Elliot Penn.
Thank you. If I have a seconder, please.
Yeah.
Neil Thomas. Thank you, Councillor Thomas.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I'd second my ward colleague, Councillor Penn.
Thank you. Have we had any more nominations? Councillor George Carroll.
Nominate Councillor Russell Godfrey.
Thank you. Seconder for that, please.
I'll second that one.
Thank you. Any more nominations for Deputy Mayor? Thank you.
okay, so as per item number 3, if I can go through the group leaders again in turn and the 4 independent members and ask them how they wish to vote. So if I start again with Councillor Lisbonette, leader of the Labour group, please.
The Labour group will be voting for Councillor Elliott Penn.
Thank you. If I can ask Councillor Carroll for your vote, please, as a Conservative group.
Our group would like to vote for Councillor Russell Godfrey.
Thank you. Councillor Ian Johnson as leader of Plaid Cymru.
My group Plaid Cymru yn cefnogi cynghorydd Elliott Penn.
Thank you. Plaid Cymru supporting Councillor Elliott Penn. If I can ask Councillor Gwyn John as leader of Llantwit First Independence.
Our group support Councillor Elliott Penn.
Thank you. And if I can ask independent members in turn, starting with Councillor Samantha Campbell, please.
Councillor Elliott Penn.
Councillor Marnie, if you can hear me. Okay, Councillor Michael Morgan, please.
My vote goes to Councillor Elliott Penn. Thank you.
Thank you. And finally, Councillor Ian Perry, please.
Elliott Penn.
Thank you. So I make that 40 votes in favour of Councillor Elliott Penn and 12 votes for Councillor Godfrey. Thank you very much. So Councillor Elliott Penn is elected Deputy Mayor. So can I ask Councillor Penn to do the same and to read and sign the declaration of acceptance of office, please, for the forthcoming year.
I, Elliot Stuart James Penn, having been elected to the office of Deputy Mayor of the Vale of Glamorgan Council, declare that I take office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties of it according to the best of my judgment and ability. I undertake to observe the code for the time being as to the conduct which is expected of members of the Vale of Glamorgan Council and which may be revised from time to time.
Thank you. And if you're happy to sign the declaration, please.
I'll now give a vote of thanks to the retiring Mayor, Councillor Susan Lloyd-Selby. May I take this opportunity to thank Councillor Lloyd-Selby for the manner in which she represented the Council during her year in office and in chairing the full Council meetings. On behalf of all the members of the Council, officers and the residents of the Vale of Glamorgan, may I also thank you for your commitment to civic duties and your hard work and dedication in particularly challenging periods. I also know that at every opportunity you have thanked all the people who have supported those in need and who have given their time freely to provide care and friendship. I would like to wish Councillor Lloyd-Selby and her husband Mark all the best in the future. And may I say, I am honoured to follow in the role she undertook with grace, and I hope I can discharge the duty with the Council's support as competently as Councillor Lloyd-Selby has. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Can I be the first to congratulate you and the Deputy Mayor on your elections? So this is my opportunity, I understand, to say a few words. I've had a busy and enjoyable year with over 70 engagements, and I'd like to thank all those who supported me throughout the year. First and foremost, my husband, Mark, who's done such a brilliant job as my consort, always by my side, and even on occasions, dare I say it, holding my handbag for me. Brian, it's a skill that you're going to need to develop. Thanks also to Deputy Mayor Councillor Julie Aviette and her consort Brian for supporting those events I was unable to attend, and to my chaplain Pastor Phil Morgan, whose prayers and support have been absolutely invaluable to me. I also extend very grateful thanks to the team in Democratic Services who've done such a fantastic job in advising and supporting me, particularly through the requirements and responsibilities which arose following the death of the Queen. We're fortunate to have such hard-working and skilled officers. Thank you. In what's been an historic year, I've had the privilege of leading events on behalf of the Vale to mark the death of our late Queen Elizabeth II and the proclamation of King Charles III, as well as recognising the debt we owe to veterans and those currently serving through events such as Armed Forces Day, Merchant Seaman Sunday, and more recently holding a minute's silence to mark a year since Russia's barbaric invasion of Ukraine. For me, the role of Mayor is about service. So it's been a real pleasure to support community events across the Vale, and in particular to meet so many wonderful volunteers who give their time selflessly serving people across the county. Whether it's keeping watch to ensure we're safe at sea, providing food parcels to those in financial crisis, giving our children and young people wonderful opportunities through things like scouting and guiding groups, sports activities, fundraising to support charitable events, I could go on. Their commitment to serving others is both humbling and inspirational. A particular highlight for me this year was presenting a gift to the winner of my Christmas card competition. And when I asked the children in the school, do you know what the Mayor does? One little boy eagerly replied, yes, you tell everybody in the world what to do and they have to do it. And I thought, well, not quite. Just some counsellors every now and again. So I'm delighted that when I talk about the community groups who are doing such wonderful work across the Vale, the Mayor's Foundation has been able to support over 30 groups with funding this year. And I'm grateful to all those who've made me welcome and given me the opportunity to share in a small way in the wonderful work that's being done. So Mayor, it just remains for me to wish you and your deputy a successful and enjoyable year. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Move on to agenda item 5, to receive any announcements from the Mayor or the Chief Executive. I have none, Chief Executive, and none from the Chief Executive. Thank you. Now we're going to agenda item 6, reports of the Chief Executive. It's the executive arrangements, cabinet membership and portfolios.
I believe that's over to me, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Leader.
I just want to double check. It does appear that Councillor Charles and Councillor Franks and Councillor Marnie have all got their hands up. Do they need to say anything before I continue?
If I may jump in, just a point, I can't see the Mayor or the Deputy Mayor, and I'm asking, is my end that's the problem, or what? Looking for guidance, please.
Leader, if I may, and Chair, if I may, if the individuals click on Civic Comms screen and pin it, they'll be able to see the table.
Thank you, Councillor Williams. You can carry on, Councillor Liz Burnett. Oh, sorry, Councillor Kevin Marnie.
Yeah, are you able to hear me yet?
Yes, we can now. Thank you.
Okay, I can hear you. It's all over the shop. I can only hear you in a massive echo chamber and my own voice now, but at least you can hear me if it needs to be. Okay, all right, cheers. And obviously I am here for the register, as you surmised. All right, cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, that's it.
Could you carry on, please, Councillor Liz Burnett, leader, please.
Thank you, Mayor. I just thought we'd get those details sorted out. So on to agenda item 6. This is the executive arrangements, which is detailing the cabinet membership and portfolios, and also the champion roles, as is laid out in the report under paragraph 2.1. The administration has 18 senior salary positions. How those are allocated is laid out under paragraph 2.1. That doesn't include the civic salaries of the mayor and deputy mayor. In fact, I intend to only use 17 of those salaries this year, again, going forward. In terms of the cabinet members, they will be myself as executive leader and cabinet member for performance and resources. Councillor Bronwyn Brooks will remain deputy leader and cabinet member for sustainable places. Councillor Rhiannon Birch, cabinet member for education, arts and Welsh language. Councillor Gwyn John, cabinet member for leisure, sport and wellbeing. Councillor Ruba Sivanyanam, cabinet member for community engagement, equalities and regulatory services. Councillor Eddie Williams, cabinet member for social care and health, and Councillor Mark Wilson, cabinet member for neighbourhood and building services. It is with sadness that I have to report to council that Councillor Margaret Wilkinson has decided to step back from the portfolio of cabinet member for public sector housing and tenant engagement to focus on her health, and we hope that very soon she will be feeling back on top form. Although that cabinet post remains, I will currently not be appointing a cabinet member to that role. I'm really grateful to Councillor Gwyn John, who with me will be sharing those responsibilities on a temporary basis. There will be further announcements on that. But if I could thank Councillor Margaret Wilkinson for her stalwart service in that cabinet role. In terms of the champions, they are laid out in the supplementary information. I think that council will agree that the champions this year have done some sterling work in helping the council to engage in broader networks of members of the community and engaging with them, and also raising the profile of some very important issues. We have made a few changes which are laid out there. We have deliberately changed the wording for the anti-poverty champion to tackling poverty champion. That very much fits in with the corporate objectives. Domestic abuse champion, who will be Wendy Gilligan. We have changed it to abuse because that actually covers mental abuse and also coercive control, and to recognise the importance of our rural communities and the very challenging issues that they quite often face. There will be a rural champion, Councillor Jo Prothero, and I look forward to working with her very closely as in my role as rural spokesperson for Welsh Local Government Association. So those are in front of you today. So the recommendations before us today are that the leader, that I inform the council of the names of councillors chosen to be deputy leader and members of the cabinet, together with the designated champion roles, as recognise a slight amendment, because recognising that not all champions are cabinet members and vice versa. Second recommendation, that the chair of the scrutiny committee, chairs and vice chairs group, and chair of the democratic services committee continue to be designated the council scrutiny and member development champions, respectively. and that council notes the payment of senior salaries for 2023-24 be set out within paragraph 2.1 of the report. And I would therefore move.
Thank you. Thank you, Leader. Councillor Bronwyn Brooks, please.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I'd like to second those recommendations.
Thank you. Councillor Julie notes. Thank you. Agenda item 7, non-executive arrangements. Councillor the Leader again, please.
Thank you, Mayor. And juggling copious bits of paper, I shall refer to my notes. This is actually to appoint the scrutiny committees together with the terms of reference and appoint their membership for the coming municipal year. So if you look at Appendix A, that is in effect the numbers in each scrutiny committee by political party or by group. Appendix B actually lays out the constitution, so what it is in effect that we are currently doing there. And then we have some supplementary information which gives details of the members of each group, and in fact in terms of the chairs of the group, as has happened this year, the Labour group will have 2 scrutiny chairs, the Conservative group will have 2 scrutiny chairs, and the Plaid Cymru group will have 1, and the details of the chairs of those groups is also laid out in the supplementary report, which is Councillor Prothero of Corporate Performance and Resources, Councillor Sandra Perks at Environment and Regeneration, Councillor Janice Charles, Healthy Living Social Care, Councillor Millie Collins, Homes and Safe Communities, and Councillor Rhys Thomas, Learning and Culture. The vice chairs will be determined at the first scrutiny committee. So that's all fairly straightforward. In fact, membership mostly similar to how it was last year. So there are just 2 recommendations before us today. And that's that scrutiny committees, together with their membership and terms of reference, be approved for the ensuing municipal year. And secondly, that the council note the allocation of specific scrutiny committee chairs as notified by the relevant group leaders as set out in paragraphs 2.1 to 2.3 of the report. And I'd move.
Thank you, Leader. Councillor Bronwyn Brooks, please.
Thank you, Mayor, and I'd like to formally second those recommendations.
Thank you. Council duly notes. Agenda item 8, quasi-judicial committees and other bodies. Thank you, Leader.
Thank you, Mayor. Similarly to the last agenda item, but for different committees, if this actually goes through the quasi-judicial committees, which are listed A to I, and the other committees, subcommittees and panels, which are J to U, and also other bodies, including joint bodies, which is the Equalities Consultative Forum and Glamorgan Heritage Coast Advisory Group. As with the previous report, Appendix A sets out the numbers in each committee by group and how that's determined. Appendix B is the relevant part of the constitution that explains the committees and their sort of the terms of each committee. And there has been a supplementary paper distributed, which gives all details of the membership of each committee. So again, as I said, fairly straightforward. two recommendations again, that the quasi-judicial committees and other bodies, together with their terms of reference, which is Appendix B, and membership, as set out in the supplementary information to be circulated prior to the meeting, be appointed for the ensuing municipal year. And secondly, that council take into account the need to comply with the size and composition of Local Planning Authorities Wales regulations 2017 in determining the size and composition of the planning committee. So that is determined elsewhere. And I'd move.
Thank you, Councillor. Thank you, Leader. Councillor Bronwyn Brooks, please.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to formally second those recommendations.
Thank you. Councillor Julie Notes. Moving on to agenda item 9, to note the dates of ordinary meetings of the council to be held in the ensuing municipal year. Would you like me to read them all? No? You don't know. Thank you. Agenda item 10, to elect chairs and vice chairs of the following committees for the ensuing municipal year. Chief Executive, can I ask you for that one, please?
Okay, thank you, Mayor. So if we start with the Appeals Committee, please, do we have any nominations for the chair of the Appeals Committee? Councillor Burnett.
I'd like to nominate Councillor Ian Buckley.
Okay, do we have any other nominations, please? No? Okay, can I have a seconder for Councillor Ian Buckley, please? Councillor Brooks?
Second that.
Thank you.
Ian Buckley is duly elected as chair.
Thank you, Mayor. If we now look at the vice chair for the Appeals Committee, do we have any nominations for vice chair, please? Councillor Burnett.
I'd like to nominate Councillor Susan Lloyd-Selby, please.
Okay, thank you. And do we have a seconder for that, please? Councillor Brooks.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Do we have any other nominations for vice chair of the Appeals Committee, please? No? Okay.
Councillor Susan Lloyd-Selby will be vice chair of appeals.
Thank you. Moving on then to the second committee on your list, which is the Community Liaison Committee. Do we have any nominations for chair of Community Liaison Committee, please? Councillor Burnett.
I'd like to nominate Councillor Sally Hanks, please.
Thank you. And Councillor Brooks, is that for seconding? Yes, thank you. Do we have any other nominations for chair of Community Liaison Committee, please? No other nominations? Okay.
Sally Hanks is duly elected as chair of Community Liaison.
Thank you, Mayor. So if we look now at the vice chair of Community Liaison Committee, do we have any nominations for vice chair? Councillor Burnett, please.
I'd like to nominate Councillor Mark Wilson, please.
Thank you. And any seconders? Councillor Brooks, please.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Thank you. Do we have any other nominations for vice chair of Community Liaison? No?
Councillor Mark Wilson is duly elected as vice chair of Community Liaison.
Okay, moving on to the third committee on your agenda, which is Democratic Services Committee. So any nominations for chair of this committee, please? Councillor Burnett.
I'd like to nominate Councillor Ian Johnson, please.
Thank you.
And I'll second that.
Seconded by Councillor Brooks. Thank you. Any other nominations, please? Councillor Carroll.
Nominate Councillor Stephen Haynes.
Thank you. And any seconder, please?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Councillor Hennessy. So we'll move to a vote on this one. As agreed by group leaders, we'll be using the block voting method on this. So can I ask, first of all, Councillor Burnett, as leader of the Labour group, please, for your vote?
Sorry, I can't speak. The Labour group will be supporting Councillor Ian Johnson.
Thank you. Councillor Carroll, the Conservative group vote.
We'd like to support Councillor Stephen Haynes.
Thank you. Councillor Ian Johnson, as leader of the Plaid Cymru group, please.
My group, Plaid Cymru and Cefnogi Ian Johnson.
Thank you. And Councillor Gwyn John, as leader of the Llantford Major First Independence.
And Llantford First Independence support Councillor Ian Johnson.
Thank you, Councillor John. And then independent members in turn, starting with Councillor Campbell, please.
Councillor Ian Johnson.
Thank you. Councillor Marnie, please, your vote.
Neither, thanks.
Abstaining, yes?
Yes.
Thank you. Councillor Perry, please.
Ian Johnson.
Thank you. And Councillor Michael Morgan, please.
My vote goes to Councillor Ian Johnson.
Thank you. So it's 12 for Councillor Stephen Haynes and 40 for Councillor Ian Johnson. So Councillor Johnson is elected as Chair of Democratic Services Committee.
Councillor Ian Johnson is duly elected as Chair of Democratic Services Committee.
So if we move on to the Vice Chair of Democratic Services, do we have any nominations for Vice Chair, please? Councillor Carroll.
I'd like to nominate Councillor Stephen Haynes.
Thank you. And do we have a seconder, please?
Yes, I'll second. Oh.
Thank you, Councillor Hennessy. And do we have any other nominations for Vice Chair of Democratic Services Committee? No other nominations? Okay.
Councillor Stephen Haynes is duly elected as Vice Chair of Democratic Services Committee.
Okay, if we move to the fourth committee on your agenda, which is Discretionary Housing Payments Review Committee, do we have any nominations for Chair of this committee, please? Councillor Burnett.
I'd like to nominate Councillor Howard Hamilton, please.
Thank you. Any seconder, please? Councillor Brooks.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Any other nominations? No other nominations, Mayor?
Councillor Howard Hamilton is duly elected as Chair of Discretionary Housing Payments Review.
And do we have any nominations for Vice Chair of this committee? Councillor Burnett, please.
I'd like to nominate Councillor Julie Lynch-Wilson, please.
Thank you. Councillor Brooks.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Any other nominations for Vice Chair? No other nominations.
Councillor Julie Lynch-Wilson is duly elected as Vice Chair of Discretionary Housing Payments Review.
Thank you. Moving on to the next committee, which is the Early Retirement Redundancy Committee. Any nominations for Chair of this committee, please? Councillor Burnett.
I'd like to nominate Councillor Pamela Drake, please.
Thank you. Councillor Brooks.
And I'll second that.
Thank you. Any other nominations? No other nominations. Okay.
Councillor Pamela Drake is duly elected as Chair of Early Retirement Redundancy.
And can we have any nominations, please, for Vice Chair of that same committee? Councillor Burnett.
I'd like to nominate Councillor Howard Hamilton, please.
Thank you. And Councillor Brooks.
And I'll second that.
Thank you. Any other nominations for Vice Chair? No other nominations.
Councillor Howard Hamilton is duly elected as Vice Chair of Early Retirement Redundancy.
Okay, moving on to the next committee, which is the Glamorgan Heritage Coast Advisory Group. Nominations for Chair, please. Councillor Burnett.
I'd like to nominate Councillor Carrie Stallard, please.
Thank you. And Councillor Brooks.
Second that.
Thank you. Any other nominations for Chair of the Glamorgan Heritage Coast Advisory Group? No other nominations. Mayor.
Councillor Carrie Stallard is duly elected as Chair of Glamorgan Heritage Coast Advisory Group.
And can we have nominations, please, for vice chair of that same committee? Councillor Burnett.
I'd like to nominate Councillor Emma Goodjohn, please.
Thank you. Councillor Bron Brooks.
And I'll second that.
Thank you very much. Any other nominations? No other nominations?
Councillor Emma Goodjohn is duly elected as Vice Chair of Glamorgan Heritage Coast Advisory Group.
Next committee is the Investigating Committee. Nominations for Chair of this committee, please. Councillor Burnett.
Thank you. I'd like to nominate Councillor Helen Payne, please.
Thank you. And Councillor Brooks.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Any other nominations, please, for Investigating Committee Chair? No other nominations?
Councillor Helen Payne is duly elected as Chair of Investigating Committee.
And can we please have any nominations for Vice Chair of that same committee? Councillor Burnett.
I'd like to nominate Councillor Catherine Iannucci, please.
Thank you. And any other nominations, please? No. And any seconder for Councillor
I'll
Iannucci?
second. Yeah, I'll second that.
Thank you, Councillor Brooks. No other nominations?
Catherine Iannucci is duly elected as Vice Chair of the Investigating Committee.
The next committee is the Planning Committee. So do we have any nominations for Chair of the Planning Committee, please? Councillor Burnett.
I'd like to nominate Councillor Neil Thomas, please.
Thank you. Seconded.
And I'll second that.
Thank you. Do we have any other nominations for Chair of Planning Committee? No other nominations?
Councillor Neil Thomas is duly elected as Chair of Planning Committee.
And nominations, please, for Vice Chair of that same committee. Councillor Burnett.
Can I nominate Councillor Sandra Perks, please?
Thank you. Councillor Brooks.
And I'll second that.
Thank you. Any other nominations? No other nominations?
Councillor Sandra Perks is duly elected as Vice Chair of the Planning Committee.
And the next committee on your agenda is the Public Protection and the Statutory Licensing Committee, please. So, Councillor Burnett.
Can I nominate Councillor Pamela Drake, please?
Thank you. And do we have a seconder, please?
And I'll second that.
Thank you, Councillor Brooks. Any other nominations? No other nominations?
Councillor Pam Drake is duly elected as Chair of the Public Protection Licensing Committee.
Thank you. And Vice Chair for that same committee, please. Councillor Burnett.
Can I nominate Councillor Jane Norman, please?
Thank you. Do we have a seconder for Councillor Jane Norman?
And I'll second that.
Thank you, Councillor Brooks. Do we have any other nominations, please? No other nominations?
Councillor Jane Norman is duly elected as Vice Chair of Public Protection and Licensing.
The next committee is the Senior Management Appointments Committee, please. Do we have any nominations for Chair of this committee? Councillor Burnett. Sorry, Councillor Burnett, you're muted at the moment.
I was trying to behave and got it wrong. My understanding is that that myself, leader, is the chair of the Senior Management Appointments Committee, and the deputy leader is vice chair. Do we need to go through a formal nomination process? Could I have clarification?
I believe so. I know it is the norm that we do have the chair as the leader and the vice chair as the deputy leader, but I know the monitoring officers raised their hands, so I'll bring Debbie in at this juncture, if that's okay.
Yes, thank you. That is the norm, but yes, as it is on the agenda, if we could take nominations.
Okay, so
thank you. In which case, could I nominate Councillor Liz Burnett as chair, please?
Yes, you can. And can we have a seconder for that?
And I'll second that.
Thank you. And do we have any other nominations for the chair of the Senior Management Appointment Committee? No other nominations?
Councillor Liz Burnett is duly elected as chair of the Senior Management Appointment Committee.
And if we can go through the process of the vice chair as well, please.
I'd like to nominate Councillor Bronwyn Brooks, please.
And do we have a seconder for that?
And I'll second that.
Thank you. Any other nominations? No other nominations?
Councillor Bronwyn Brooks is duly elected as vice chair of the Senior Management Appointment Committee.
Okay, the next committee is the Trust Committee. So if I can have nominations for Trust Committee, please.
Could I just double check? Should we be doing statutory licensing at this point?
Yeah. They were together. They were together under the Public Protection Committee, because the chair of Public Protection and the chair of statutory licensing is as a rule the same chair.
Yes, I agree, except that they're listed as I and K on the agenda, so I didn't know if we had to.
Okay. Yeah, it would be good if we could formally agree them. The monitoring has got a hand up as well, so Debbie, do you want to come in?
I was just going to mention that when you sought nominations for the chair of the Public Protection Licensing Committee, you also did seek nominations for the statutory licensing. I distinctly remember hearing you say that. So it has in effect been dealt with previously.
Okay, that's helpful. So we don't need to go through statutory licensing again. So if we go back to the Trust Committee in that case, nominations for chair of the Trust Committee, please. Councillor Burnett.
Could I nominate Councillor Howard Hamilton, please?
Thank you. And do we have a seconder, please?
And I'll second that.
Thank you, Councillor Brooks. Do we have any other nominations for Trust Committee? No? Okay.
Councillor Howard Hamilton is duly elected as chair of the Trust Committee.
Thank you. And vice chair of the same committee, please. Councillor Burnett.
Can I nominate Councillor Mark Wilson, please?
Thank you. And do we have a seconder for that, please?
And I'll second that.
Thank you. Any other nominations for vice chair to the Trust Committee? No other nominations?
Councillor Mark Wilson is duly elected as vice chair of the Trust Committee.
Next committee on your list is the Voluntary Sector Joint Liaison Committee. So do we have any nominations for chair of the Voluntary Sector Joint Liaison Committee? Councillor Burnett.
Can I nominate Councillor Rhiannon Birch, please?
Thank you. And do we have seconder, please?
Yes, I'll second that.
Thank you, Councillor Brooks. Do we have any other nominations? No other nominations?
Councillor Rhiannon Birch is duly elected as chair of the Voluntary Sector Joint Liaison Committee.
And vice chair of the same committee, please. Councillor Burnett.
My understanding is that the chair is from the voluntary sector, Chief Exec.
Okay, take some advice on that. That's
the honorary chair. The honorary chair is from the voluntary sector.
So we need to elect a vice, yes? Okay, yeah, I'm being advised that we do need to elect a vice chair. So I don't know if we have any nominations for vice chair. Councillor Birch.
Thank you. Custom and practice. I've been on that committee for years, and custom and practice is that at the first meeting of the new chair, the voluntary sector then select a vice chair from among themselves.
Sorry, voluntary sector. Just double checking, Chief Executive. At the last meeting on the 3rd of April, we had a vice chair which was Councillor Lloyd Selby. But we do have an honorary vice chair, which is appointed, honorary chair, which is appointed from the voluntary sector, but it is a vice chair from the Vale.
Okay, so there are two vice chairs in effect. There's an honorary vice chair and an elected vice chair. Okay, yeah.
Just for clarification, Chief Executive, if members look in the papers with the agenda, the terms of reference clearly states to appoint a chair and vice chair from amongst the 8 members of the council and to an honorary vice chair.
Okay.
Thank you.
So on that basis, if we could elect a vice chair in recognition of the fact that there would also be an honorary vice chair elected from the voluntary sector. So do we have any nominations for vice chair, please?
If I could nominate Councillor Susan Lloyd Selby.
Thank you. And any seconder? Councillor
And I'll
Brooks?
second that.
Thank you. Do we have any other nominations, please? No other nominations?
Councillor Susan Lloyd Selby is duly elected as Vice Chair of the Voluntary Sector Joint Liaison Committee.
And then final committee on your list is the Welsh Church Act Estate Committee. So do we have any nominations, please, for Chair? Councillor Burnett?
Can I nominate Councillor Mark Wilson, please?
Any seconder for Councillor Wilson? Councillor Brooks?
Yes, and I'll second that.
Thank you. Do we have any other nominations, please? No other nominations?
Councillor Mark Wilson is duly elected as Chair of the Welsh Church Act Estate Committee.
And can we have any nominations, please, for Vice Chair of that same committee? Councillor Burnett?
Can I nominate Councillor Pamela Drake, please?
Thank you. Do we have a seconder for Councillor Drake?
Yes, I'll second that.
Thank you, Councillor Brooks. And do we have any other nominations? No other nominations, Mayor?
Councillor Pam Drake is duly elected as Vice Chair of the Welsh Church Act Estate Committee.
And that concludes agenda item 10.
Thank you, Chief Executive. Agenda item 11, any other items which the Mayor has decided is urgent? Well, I have none at the moment. And there's no part 2. And item number 12, any other items which the Mayor has decided are urgent, part 2? There are none. So all that's left for me to say is thank you all for your attendance and good night. Thank you.
Bye all.
Goodbye.
Chair.